Hi, and welcome to the second topic under the Agile modeling. So today we are going to focus on Scrum tech. In the last video, we did define the Agile modeling as a practice-based methodology aiming to have effective modeling and documentation process for the software system development. Scrum is a framework which people can address complex adaptive problems, while the productivity and creativity delivering the product of the highest possible value. In other words, the Scrum is a framework utilizing an agile mindset for developing, delivering, and sustaining complex products, with an initial emphasis on the software development. In a very simple way, the Scrum framework is a guideline to ensure the effectiveness of participation of all people in either in the process of the brainstorming of the intangible ideas and so on, and also in the process of documenting, developing, coding, and listening to the story of the users, and having a very effective way of sprint first listing the priorities of the idea and so on. We call it, we will have a look into it just now, and then also then having a meeting and have also very short release of the product, and then having effective review of the product of the software and so on. We will have a look into all of the Scrum fundamentals and so on. Let's have a look to some principles or fundamentals about Scrum framework. First, begin the project with the high level plan that can be changed on the fly. So it means that we have very intensive complex planning in the beginning of the project, but also this plan can be changed or during the process. Second, we should put as a first priority the project. The project is the most important, and then the individual success is the secondary. Also, one of the fundamental of Scrum is the project leader has some but not much influence on the details, and the system team works with a strict time frame, normally 2 to 4 weeks for development process. Three main roles in the Scrum. First is the product owner. Product owner is the person who will represent the stakeholders or the users or those who will benefit and interact with the new product or software. Then we have the Scrum Masters who ensuring the maintenance of the Scrum or the Agile modeling values, and also ensuring the achieving the objectives on the right in timing manner, and also in the very quality process and product. Then the team members is those who are doing the doing the agile system or the Scrum practice. Team members work to create and improve the user story, generate estimates in terms of quality, estimates in terms of the output, estimate in terms of also the timing. Self-organize to complete the work. Accept or they demonstrate the willingness to participate in activity to help to have the best of the. Now let's have a look into the Scrum process. We have 5 steps or 5 phases of Scrum framework. One, we start with the initial product backlog. The product backlog is simply the list of which derived from the product specification and the features required or needed. And then uh, based on this initial product backlog list, that we create or we try to filter and prioritize the task in the sprint backlog. So the sprint backlog is a dynamically changing list of tasks to be completed in the next sprint. So the next sprint is this one, is the third phase. In this list, we have what you call the technique of 30-day time, in which the development team transforms the backlog into software that can be demonstrated to the customers. And then we have the daily Scrum. Daily Scrum basically is a brief meeting in which the communication is the number one role. So communicate between the team, and also the Scrum Master is attending and trying to remind about the values of the developing the system and so on. And lastly is the demo or the software demo, which is working software that can be demonstrated to the users. Now let's have a look into each phases one by one. So the product backlog is, as we said, is features and other deliverables designers intend for the product based on the user's story. The stories or the list of users' stories are organized so that the most important user's story will appear in the top of the list. So this example or this picture is demonstrating the who create the project or the product backlog is the those three members or partners, project or project team or owner of the product, and then uh, product owner, and then we have the stakeholders. So project team is the Scrum product, can we can say that, and also the product owner is the one who represent the stakeholders. Both this one is the stakeholders, and then we have also the Scrum Master, and then we create the project backlog. In here we list down all the tasks that should be done, features or the feature that is required in the new software, and we list in the top, we start from the very important features up to the down list, and then we transform this list into more more sprint backlog list, which is just list down the main important list with the task that should be done. So, for example, we have the product backlog registry here. We have this uh, stories task based on user story. So we have, let's take the very simple one, is the adding product review by bears. So here we have users who should who will benefit, the users who should feel more confident having their review available, and then resources required. What is the resources required here? We need to have collaboration, filtering, and redesigning the product page, coding and testing, and then will be accepted when the users approve of the prototype and the collaborative systems is through the testing. Okay, so the second one is the sprint cycle. Sprint cycle stories are deliverables with the team completions, and then tasks are part of the story or a unit of the work that each team member does. And the sprint cycle can be vary in length, but the usual is 2 weeks. So the sprint is 2 the usual length of the sprint is 2 weeks. Okay. Lastly is at the end of the cycle, determining whether the product should be released or not. Okay, so there is one technique about 2 weeks release advantages is the team spirit remains high. Completing the product is more real to the team, and then continual feedback from the customers. And here we have a team work together to complete the sprint cycle. And you can see here we have here is the project owner create the product backlog. You can see here we have the list of features. So list of features of the product expected or estimated features and specification, and then we put down we list down the sprint backlog, determining the tasks to achieve these features. And then we have the sprint this one we have two sprint. One sprint is normally either 2 weeks or sometime even up to 30 days. Okay, and then we have another sprint is 1 day daily meeting. And in some scholars or experts in this, they said it's good to have very short standing meeting just to have communication for the team of Scrum, in order to ensure the tasks progress of the work, and to also to solve some complexity problems for the workers. And then after that, so you can see here we have sprint less either for 2 to 4 weeks, and then we have team have daily meeting during the sprint. This is the daily meeting, and then it will demonstrate a potential shippable product or demo of the software. So when the sprint is finished, the new release is ready to ship. And then when we ship it, then we also listen to the users, and we create again the product backlog according to the user's story. So here we have like a summary picture of all tasks, and also the phases, and also those who are participating on Scrum framework. So we have the product owners, we have the Scrum team, and the product owner. They start by creating, especially the product owner, they start to create the product backlog. And we say that this is features and specification of the product. And then we have the sprint planning, or we call it the sprint backlog. This two is sometimes is combined. So here we have the tasks to achieve and complete the product features list. So so when we reach here, then we go to the first sprint, and the first sprint it's 1 to 4 weeks or 2 to 4 weeks. Normally is not less than 1 week if it is normal software. If it is just some simple development, then or improving or adding features, then maybe we have 1 week or less. And then we have daily Scrum, just as we said, is just to review and ensure the communication between the process, and the one who is controlling and supervising the sprint is the Scrum Master. And then After that, we do the sprint review or the sprint re retrospective, and this one is based on the review of this of the customers or the users. So we get the feedback, come back to the first product backlog stage, and then after that we release the final version of the product. Now let's have a look into the lessons learned from agile modeling. First, short release allow the system to evolve. Through the use of short release, the development team compress the time between release of their product and improving the product later as a dynamic situation demand. And then pair programming pair programming enhance the overall quality uh, through the fosters of good communication, identifying with the customers, focusing on the most valuable aspect of the project first. So in also in terms of testing the code as it's developed, and also integrating the new codes after it's successfully pass the test of the first coding. And then the third one, on-site customers are mutually beneficial to the business and also to the agile development team through the because the customers serve as a ready reference and reality check, because they know better the business environment, and also the help to enhance the focus of the system design will always be maintained via their presence in the team. Okay, and lesson 4 learned from the agile modeling is that the 40 hours work a week technique is improving the workers' effectiveness, because they are full-time focusing and giving their time without any interruption, any other work, just for the system development process. And then the balance resources and activities. So by balancing the resources, agile resources and activities, it will support the project goals. So for the resources, as we remember, uh, is the time, the cost, the quality, and the scope. Uh, and then we should balance all of this within the activities of coding, designing, testing, and listening. Okay, and then we have the agile values are crucial to success, which we have four agile values. Start by this the communication, simplicity, feedback, and courage. This figure is summarizing the six main lessons that can be learned from agile approach to systems, or agile modeling of developing the system, starting by short releases. The short releases allow system to evolve. Bare programming enhance the overall quality, up to agile value are crucial to success. So, other unique Scrum features: first, the Scrum Planning meeting, the planning poker, daily meetings, and sprint born down chart, and then the sprint review. So, let's look into each one of this. The Scrum Plan. The main purpose of this sprint planning meeting is to list down all the features or set up the product backlog, and then the second objectives. So we list down the all the features that should be in the future, or in the new system, and then we prioritize it. We need to in this meeting we also need to prioritize it through what we call consensus among the team.
consensus among the members of the Scrum.
There are two parts during the Scrum planning meeting. First, product owner presents the list of the features or the specification on which the list of user stories, meaning that from the user stories, the product owners will present the features and the specification through the what we call product backlog. And then from that we create the estimation process is estimating the resources needed to complete all of these features on the product backlog. The common way to get the estimation is to play the planning poker is the card game, where we have how to say, we have sort of uh, trying to bring the consensus between the team. For the planning poker, or what we call the Scrum poker, is a consensus based gamified technique to estimate the complexity and effort needed for the software features. And so it is a it is a technique to help the team determine the estimates for completing the features from the user's story. There are some planning poker rules to play this role. First, the moderator keeps the estimate meeting running efficiently. Second, the product owner represent one of the user stories that need to be estimating, so one by one, and then each team member chooses a card with the number on it, as we give in the picture just now, and lay it face down, so they didn't see the number. And then a lower numbered card means that the project can be completed fast. Another role is the numbers may represent the number of days it takes to finish the features, or the story points, or even the difficulty and obstacles terms. Then team members turn over their cards at the same time, and then the team members with the highest and lowest estimate may define their rating. Lastly, the entire team can discuss the estimates after a while, and they can also do it again and again. A new hands is then played, and so on.
So the daily Scrum meetings, or we call they call it daily Scrum. It's a short meeting. It's normally stand up just to look into three main things: working done, the work done. So we discuss what have been done yesterday, work to be done today. So the current task should be done, and then any obstacles or issues faced by the team. And normally it hold in the same location and hold in a standing form, and also it is in the normally in the beginning of the day of working day. Daily Scrum meeting is a short meeting, and it called sometimes a stand-up meetings because of the few. It takes only a few minutes. It focuses on reviewing or sharing the tasks that the team members is working in since the previous daily Scrum, which is yesterday, and also we'll discuss and share the tasks that they expected to complete during the current daily Scrum, and also they will discuss if there is any obstacles or issues that facing the team members during their achieving the task. Sprint breakdown chart is one way to track the performance, and we have horizontal axis to track the time, and then we have vertical axis to track the number of tasks remaining, and we have also the red line which represent the hours of work remain, and we have the yellow bars showing the time remaining. So here we have this figure is illustrating the axis, as we said, axis, the vertical axis is representing the number of tasks, and this one is representing the timing to achieve the remaining tasks. So we have timing and we have tasks, and then so for this one is the golden bars is representing number of tasks remain in the for the each specific timing, and then for the red line it's representing the hours needed for the working or the task need. Okay, so it gives meaningful information or performance. What's the performance? How is the progress of the performance? In the end of each sprint, so we have this when it is finished, let's say after 2 weeks or 1 week, that it's to be the end of the sprint. So the Scrum meeting or the Scrum team come together to review the working done, and normally they should bring, let's say, the the Scrum meeting team, they should present the demo of the software. So who involved in this team? Normally the Scrum Master, the product owner, and the Scrum team, which they present, and then we have the customers or the users and the stakeholders, if, if there is any. So that's what they are doing, just reviewing the working done, and based on the story, as we say. Okay, so it's kind of review after the working done. So as we said, sprint review, it is a meeting where the team get together in a meeting to review the work done. They notify any task that's not completed, and they will review the reasons, and the person or the team in charge for that incompleted tasks, and then also they will involve the user story to be documented here, and also to see whether they achieve the customer satisfaction or the users now we discussed the Kanban technique. Kanban technique is one of the techniques that help to track the performance, and it is common practice in chasing or tracking the performance of software development. So it is visualized. It's visualizing the workflow, and then keep the work in progress as possible as small. So work in progress is what we mean that the task will be located in under this category. So it should be very small in order not to keep things in hold, ensuring the completion of the tasks, and then re-evaluate the workflow, reassigning the priorities if needed, and then strive for continual improvement during the process. Okay, so here is the figure explaining the Kanban board in a widely manner. So you can see here we have backlog, we have the sprint, and the first sprint and the backlog, those are considered to do, which will be represented here. So here is the backlog list of features of the features or specification of the software, and sprint is representing the tasks to achieve these features, and then it will be summarized in to do, and then we have this to do is in progress work, and then you can see it's very small, the white is not that big, and then doing and verifying is the about the verifying process, and then work done to the accomplished tasks. In the end of each sprint, we have a meeting to retrospective review, aiming to answer the question first: what worked or went well, and what caused the problems and issues the failed to work properly, answering why, what's the reason of having those obstacles and so on, and then what can be done differently in the next sprint to improve. The easy way also, this is one of the technique used in the retrospective, is asking the team members to tell what they would like to start and stop and continue. From it's kind of feedback from the previous sprint. So they tell what task or what thing that they would like to do, and continue to do it, and what they want to start with, and what they would like to not to do it in the next sprint. So in summary, we have several ceremonies in the Scrum. We have first we have the starting by the sprint planning meeting, and then it is a kind of listing down the product block log, and also prioritizing the main features of the and link it to the sprint, the first sprint or the task. And then we have daily meetings just to review the operational daily work of the team. And then we have end of the sprint, we have sprint review meeting, is to focusing on the accomplished work. And then we have also the sprint retrospective meeting, which is into the main objective of this meeting is to ensure the effectiveness of the next sprint. Okay, so just to make it easy and summarize, so we start with planning, and this planning we have the planning come from the project vision and release planning, and this one can be done by the meeting of sprint planning meeting. And then we have the implementation. We have daily Scrum meeting, and then when we come out with any prototyping or demo of software, then we will have what we call review meeting, sprint review, and then we have the also another meeting for sprint retrospective meeting, and then we continue. We can do another development or another sprint. Okay, so that's as simple as that. Now let's look into advantage and disadvantage, or let us evaluate or assess the Scrum in the eyes of the team, of the Scrum team and users. Okay, so it is quick product development as an advantage. It is exercising a user-oriented approach, encouraging teamwork, sorry, less confusing than more formal approaches. It is very flexible framework. It satisfies the team members, rewarding small but meaningful accomplishment, and it provides a feedback, and also it is adaptability. The adaptability is high. And that in the disadvantage that it has poor documenting the feature and specification of the software that we are developing, and then releasing product with many errors, releasing product too soon for the user, completing the sprint backlog under the project. If there is a geographical spread for the team, that will create a challenge and difficult. Working as a team when special skills are required also a challenging. Um, if there is any members of the team leave, then it is difficult to replace. Devops is a short form for development and operations. So it is a set of practice that combines software development and IT operation. It aims to shorten the system development life cycle and provide continuous delivery with the high software quality. So in the development and operation or DevOps, the first side is decreases the development time for newly development application and maximize the profit by rapidly addressing the market opportunities and getting customers feedback in a timely manner. And also the development and operation are working in a parallel streams within the DOB culture. Okay, so you can see that the development or jobs exist on its own culture. So we have under the development we have plan, prioritizing, design, and coding, and the tasks under the operations is test, release, configuration, and monitoring. So development and operation work together in a parallel manner. Okay, so this is another illustration showing that we start with planning in under the development, and then coding, then building the software, then testing, and then for the operations we go for releasing, deploying, and operating, and then monitoring.
Let us now compare the agile modeling and the structured methods. We will compare it in two different aspects. One is the improving of the efficiency system development. So we'll compare the efficiency, especially the the seven strategies that can improve the efficiency of knowledge work. So we will compare in this aspect between the modeling, the agile modeling and the structured methods. And also we will discuss the risk inherent in the organizational innovation.
So this figure or this table is illustrating the strategies for improving efficiency which can be implemented using the two different development approaches, the agile modeling and also the structured methods. So the first strategy is reduce the interface time and errors. So for the structured methods, adopting organization standards for coding, naming, and using forms, whereby for agile modeling is adopting pair programming. Reduce the process learning time and dual processing losses. So for the structured method, managing when updates are released, so the users does not have to learn and use software at the same time. For agile methodologies, ad hoc prototyping and rapid development application is the strategy that used to overcome the learning time for the users. And then number 3, reduce the time and effort of structured task and format output using case tools and diagrams, the documentation techniques using the code written by the programmers. Here we in the agile, it's the strategy is encouraging the short releases. So it is remember when we talk about the disadvantage of the Scrum, we mentioned something about the documentation poor or improperly documenting the features, but also it is one of the advantages having fast release of the system or the feature. And then number 4, reduce the non-productivity or non-productive expansion of the work. Here, by managing the project, establishing the deadline. Here we have limited scope in each release, which is more systematic. Then we have the reducing data and knowledge search and storage time and cost. In the structured methodologies, using the structured data gathering techniques such as interview, observation and sampling, whereby in the agile models or methodologies allowing for onset customer that we mentioned one of the features of agile, when we bring someone who is expert and know from the company and keep him working together with the agile team or modelers. Then reduce communication and coordinating time and cost. Under the structured methodologies, splitting the project into smaller tasks and establishing the barriers. Here we have the time boxing, which is reducing the time or giving the timing structure for each task. And then last one, reduce losses from human information overload. Under the structured methodology, we have the strategy of applying filtering techniques to shield the analysts and programmers, whereby for the agile methodologies we have sticking to 40 hours working week, meaning that devoting the time for programmers, analysts, and or even on-site customer to complete the work on time.
In adopting new information systems, there is some inherent risk that related to this process of adopting the new system. First is fitting to the development of team culture, best time to innovate, and training costs of for the analysts and programmers. Normally it's, especially if it is in-house, then we need to train them, bring them to new skills of programming and analysts. And then client reaction to the new methodology, which is the what we call the resistance of new changes and so on. And then the impact of agile methodologies, uh, programs, analysts, individual rights in terms of cost and so on. So this figure explaining or summarizing those risks that related to the process of adopting organizational innovation or new information system, either organizational culture, timing, cost, client reaction, measurement, impact of the agile modeling and individual rights, either the analyst or the programmers. All of this risk is in the analyst must consider those risks for their organization when they are facing this new adoption. So what they supposed to do is to balance those several risks, and in order to minimize the effect of this risk and ensure the effectiveness of the new information system. In summary, we discussed the prototyping in the previous videos, talking about the different types of prototyping. We talk about batch up system, non-operational approach, first of series, and selected features. We also discuss the agile modeling in terms of the 5 values of agile approach, principles of agile development, agile activities, agile resources, and we also discussed the core practice of the agile approach. We also mentioned that we should balance between all of this, between the activities, the resources, also the values and the core practice. Also we discussed the stages in the agile development process. We bring also some discussion about the user story in terms of the important. We give example, and then we bring some lessons that we learn from agile modeling.
We also discuss in details in this video the Scrum methodology, the Devops or development and operation approach. We finally end up with dangerous or risk to adopt innovation approaches. I think that's all, and hopefully you get something today. Thank you so much.